Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond. With Kristen Levine and me, Chris Bonifati. Powered by the American Pet Products Association and DOGTV. Hello and welcome to another episode of Pets Add Life. I am one of your hosts, Chris Bonifati, and joining me, as always, is a woman who just got her rigging license, Kristen Levine.
I had to pass that test, man. That was
It's tough. It's rough. Well, you did a great job with all these hanging signs here at the convention center. I'm going to stare past the camera. There's so many hanging signs, so many man hours that go into these things. Have you ever seen them on the ground?
No.
They're so much bigger when they're on the ground.
I gotta imagine.
Because these things, we're looking past the camera, but they're about, I'd say, 40 feet up in the air.
It's like a blimp.
Yeah, and they look normal, but I've seen them on the ground as they're staging them, and they're quite big. It's one of those cool little things that, like, only trade show folks get to experience by being here way too early.
I told you earlier we need to have, like, a trade show trivia thing, because you were just dropping some nuggets, things that I didn't know.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here to drop nuggets, and I suppose Kristen's here to pick them up. That's disgusting.
Okay, no.
That's gross.
All right. So, we have another great show for you today. 2 stories, 2 guests, 2 products, and 2 questions. And we're here at Global Pet Expo again. So, we've got some really cool stuff coming for you. Our first guest, actually, never mind. Scratch that.
Scratch that. Hey, we never change anything. We're doing the show the same way as always, every single Tuesday.
Do it in order.
We do it in order. We film it in order, people, okay? We never get confused as to what's happening. All right, well, you know what I'm not confused about?
What?
Story time.
All right.
Let's go ahead and jump into story time.
Kristen and Chris present Story Time.
All right, and it's time to do stories, and here we are. It is either future or present or past Chris and Kristen. I don't really know what to call it, but we're back from Global Pet Expo, back in the comfort of our own homes, and we didn't have all the time to cover all of our stories. So the next few episodes, you're going to see us back at home as we reflect and look at all the stories happening around. Kristen, are you all rested up?
I am. I feel so much better, and you look great. You look rested. Look at my eyes. There's hope in them. Yeah, so don't adjust your dial. It's I know we're jumping back and forth from global, but we're gonna catch you up on our stories today. And Chris, I think you've got something that has a lot to do with some info that was released at global.
Yeah, and I think this is fun stuff that, our pet parents may not necessarily care about, but I think it's interesting to hear anyway, because pets have become so popular, and the amount of money we spend and the impact on the economy, and how just the number of pet owners growing, it's becoming so much more part of our culture. And I think it's just fun to hear some of these numbers. So
let's hear it.
APPA, they put out their state of the industry, and they cover it at Global, and the huge press releases out. If you are a pet brand or manufacturer or an APPA member, reach out to APPA for your full copy of all this amazing data and information. It's a huge report, but I'm going to cover some of the highlights here for our pet parents and our listeners. The first, Kristen, do you want to guess in 2025 how much people basically spent on their pets, like the pet industry total expenditure? It's in the billions. That's your hint. It's in the billions.
In 2025?
2025.
I want to say like 120.
You are really good at
well,
this.
It's kind of not fair because we're
kind of it's $158 billion in 2025. That is a 3.7% increase, and APPA is projecting that expenditure will reach $165 billion in 2026.
I'm doing my part
for a full year growth. Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's 4.4% growth, and 2% driven by inflation. So it is actual growth. And we're saying 95 million U.S. households owning at least one pet.
Incredible.
So thank you, everyone, for spending your hard-earned cash on your pets. You are keeping us gainfully employed, and you are keeping the motor of this industry running. I've got more from this report, but you're going to have to tune into the next episodes as we continue our Global Pet Expo journey to catch some of these fun tidbits.
Yeah, and I have an economic story today too, somewhat. But before I go to that, I've got to tell you something. I don't even know if you were born at this time, but I can remember. This is how long I've been working in the pet industry. I can remember when the annual spending, I want to say it was 1997, I was alive. 17 billion. Just 17 billion. So look at how it's grown. And it's not really been that long, like 29 years, 28 years.
Yeah. One thing I'll say, growing up in the 90s, we were outliers for having a pet in our neighborhood.
Really?
Like we were the animal family in our little suburban home.
Interesting.
There were very few pets, and specifically cats. Mm-hmm. We were the only people on the block with a pet cat. Huh. Which, I mean, it's just things have changed.
They have. Super cool. Okay, so mine has a little bit to do with money. It's a little different spin, though. We all know that our pets are priceless, but economists just recently put an actual dollar figure on the value our pets bring to our lives. This is crazy, this number. So this is research from the University of Kent across the pond found that having a cat or dog as a companion can increase human life satisfaction and well-being as much as your family and friends do. They've put a $90,000 value per year on the impact, the value that your pets bring to your life. I don't disagree that they contribute hugely, but 90 grand, that seems crazy.
90,000? No
yeah,
way.
And this is from physicians.org. Like, this is legit. Let's see. The research also found that cat owners tend to be more open-minded, while dog owners tend to be more extroverted, agreeable, and less anxious. And that is not true, for me at least. But the cool thing is the head of this research said, she said, the research answers the question of whether overall pet companions are good for us with a resounding yes, which we kind of already knew, and that pets care for us, and there's a significant monetary value associated with the companionship. And hopefully this information can be used for healthcare practices and policies, pet-friendly housing and therapy, animal programs, and more. So a little bit of what we already knew, but I've never seen a dollar figure placed on the value like that.
Yeah, I'm really curious on the methodology for that. Like, was it like a survey thing, or were they like?
I'll dig into that and see if I can.
Yeah, very interesting in how it was measured. Because listen, $90,000. Woof. I mean, I love my pets, but $90,000. I mean, I'd love $90,000,
right? Instead of a pet. No.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. It's tough. Listen, that number exists. There's a number. There's a number there. There's a number there. But wow, yeah, I think that's really interesting, and I wonder if Habry's ever done anything with.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
To dig into that.
You got to get Feldman back on here and tell him $90,000 or your pet dog, and I guarantee you that his number is going to be a lot higher than everybody else's.
Beyond the Leash, exploring the untold stories of pet passion and professionalism.
All right, it is my pleasure to introduce our guest, Sandy Moore. She's the CEO of the Pet Advocacy Network, an organization dedicated to advancing responsible pet care through education, advocacy, and public policy. The organization works across the pet industry to promote animal welfare, protect access to pets, and ensure that regulations support both pets and the people who care for them. Through this work, Sandy helps bridge the gap between policymakers, industry leaders, and pet owners to shape the future of pet ownership. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Of course.
It's really a pleasure.
Of course, yeah. Well, Sandy, for people who might not be familiar, what is the Pet Advocacy Network and what role does it play in the pet industry?
Great question. So the Pet Advocacy Network is also known as PJAC. is the lobbying arm of the pet industry to ensure the supply of live pets, because without pets, there is no pet industry.
That's true.
We want to make sure that pets are available and they are responsibly and well bred.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a lot of the pet parents out there may not even be aware of some of the things that are happening. So in your opinion, what are some of the big issues that, either breeders or pet stores or even pet owners are facing from a policy or regulation standpoint?
So we're facing a number of challenges right now. Our biggest challenge are pet sale bans. And they are across the country, and they start with restricting the sale of dogs and cats at retail, and then dogs and cats and rabbits, and then guinea pigs, and then reptiles and birds and fish. In West Hollywood, for example, the sales of all live pets are illegal, effective October of last year.
Wow.
Other issues that we're battling include supporting the sustainable fisheries of Hawaii, where yellow tangs come from for the aquatics industry. We deal with CITES, the Convention for the International Trade of Endangered Species, which allows for sustainable use of animals. And we want to make sure that the animals that are in trade we are not adversely affecting their populations in the wild.
Sandy, I want to go back to what you said about pet sale ban.
Sure.
Because I learned at the Pet Summit earlier this week, I got to sit on a panel to judge the marketing innovation plan. So I learned about how those bans can actually lead to scams.
Yes.
And as pets become less available through retail locations, then bad actors tend to take advantage of those things.
Well, that's right. So it's a really interesting issue that we're dealing with. So right now we're looking at, on a scale of 32,000 people on TikTok selling dogs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right? I mean, you don't know how those dogs are bred because there's no, on those social media platforms, there's no standards of care. You're really hoping that the person that you're buying from is going to be ethical and going to raise those animals in a way that we can all be proud of. However, a great majority of the sellers are not real. They're selling, you're going to put a deposit down for perhaps the animal and transportation, and they never appear. Or they're going to sell you an animal that was raised in a way that none of us can support.
Yeah. Well, Sandy, help us protect our pet parents at home. How to identify a scam, or maybe let's shed it in a positive light. How can we identify good breeders who are following all the standards and are going to provide a quality animal who is raised with care?
Right. So first of all, what I would look for as an animal buyer, I would like to see, if it's a commercially bred animal, I'd want to see a USDA licensed facility with no direct violations, which means things that actually affect the health and care of the animal within the past 3 years. I would also, if it is a hobby breeder, I would want to see their hobby club certification or audit, right? Because there are standards to be met.
Yep.
You can put two animals together and maybe, create some additional animals, but is it meeting the standards of that breed, right? With people that buy purpose-bred animals, buy them for a specific character traits. They want hunting dogs, or they want dogs that are hypoallergenic, or they want animals that are historically, good with kids and good with other animals.
Great advice.
And one more thing I would add to that: if the only choice for you is to buy an animal on the internet, I would look real hard at the pictures that are provided to make sure that they are not something that has been copied, and so do a Google search of that picture.
And I mean, in this world of like AI and stuff like that, you have to be scrupulous. You really have to look at this stuff and use your better judgment. And if something seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah. And actually, I saw something on your website the other day. I think I shared it might have been my story
at some point. Yeah, this whole week's a blur.
Yeah, I know. It talked about some of the things that you should do, like make sure you speak to this person on the phone, make sure that you can, if it's a hobby breeder, you can visit their facility and so your website has some really great resources for pet parents.
They sure do. Right. It's petadvocacy.org.
Okay.
So let's get back to talking about the legislation. What are some of the common misconceptions that people have about pet-related legislation or act?
Well, I think with pet sale bans in particular, I think there's a big myth out there that all commercially bred animals are done for profit only. And I actually, coming from an animal breeding background myself, I've never met anyone that breeds animals for the money. We do it because we love the animals and we happen to know a great deal about the breeds. If we happen to make a little bit of money, that's great. I don't know anybody ever that's gotten rich doing it. So not supporting those people who actually love those animals and cherish the breeds is really counterintuitive for the long-term health of the industry.
I think there was some whiplash, maybe 10, 15 years ago when there were a lot of stories about these puppy mills and things like that. And sure, those are awful, and we can all agree we don't want that happening. But would you agree that it's really a small percentage of breeders who are acting unethically, that the problem has sort of ballooned because we sensationalize news? Or do you think that there is still work to do in addressing some, breeders who don't have that level of care?
So I do believe it's a small percentage.
Yeah.
And I believe there are people out there who need to get put out of business.
Of course. Yeah.
Fortunately, by passing these pet sale bans, we actually support the kind of people that we're trying to put out of business, because the general public,
they're not following they're not following the law anyway. Yeah, they're not following the law. They're going to go do what they got to do, whether or not. Yeah, exactly.
Well, how can we as pet parents get involved and make our voices heard on these issues that affect pets?
If you would join our network of advocates on our website, and when things happen in your local area, we'll be contacting you and asking you to write in or call your lawmakers to tell them that you support pet choice and you support responsible breeding.
And that website one more time where folks can go to learn more?
petadvocacy.org.
All right, you heard it here from Sandy Moore herself. Everyone, be careful out there on the internet. It's a scary place. Sandy, thank you so much for this work you do. Really behind the scenes, working to keep our pets safe and our industry booming. We appreciate everything you do.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
I think, people who work like that, I said behind the scenes, because there's the whole pet industry moving forward, trying to create excellent products and take care of everybody's animals. There's the people behind the scenes there making those things possible.
Yeah.
But then there's a whole other layer behind the scenes to make sure everything is done safe and ethically and responsibly. And I think, they're just unsung heroes out there really making sure everything stays positive. And it's one of the reasons we could be proud to be in this industry, because of the way we respect and treat animals and the standard we hold ourselves to.
And I'm glad we had her on the show, because like we talked about, most pet parents don't know that PAM exists and that they're doing all this great work for us. So I encourage you to check it out, petadvocacy.org. Is that it?
I think it was .org.
Yeah.
Go back to the interview, rewind a minute and a half, and you'll find it right there. We haven't time traveled at all. She just left the room right now. Just rewind the show, people.
It's my pleasure to introduce our guest, Rowena Arts. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Absolutely. That's fabulous.
This is why we have Kristen do the intros.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Chris. Head of exhibitions at WZF and owner and organizer of Interzoo, the world's leading trade fair for pet supplies. With a doctorate in business administration and over 15 years of experience in international management in the profit and nonprofit sector, she leads the development and execution of strategic and transnational projects. I didn't read very well today. I'm sorry.
You got your glasses on, so you have no excuse. You have no excuse.
Yeah, it's also like the very difficult word, like transnational and like
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the key. When you're writing your bio, folks out there, if you're writing your bio, use big words.
Yeah.
Biggest words you can find.
Well, we Germans, we are known for putting like very long words. So that would be in German.
I have some favorite. I have some favorite German words.
Yeah.
I think my favorite is Schadenfreude, when you take pleasure in other people's displeasure.
Okay.
Use that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
Yeah.
welcome. We're so glad to have
Yes.
you here, Ravenna.
I'm very happy to be here.
I actually interviewed her briefly at the Pet Summit the other night. I had no idea who she was. I thought I was just talking to some fabulous pet lover, and then she told me who she was. I was like, wow. Okay. Anyway.
But actually, I am a pet lover as well.
Are we all?
First and foremost, right? Otherwise, you would not be in this industry.
Yeah.
Interzoo is the biggest and most international trade fair for the pet industry. How did you get involved?
Well, actually, I love cats since I'm a little child. So we always had cats, and whenever I saw like a dog or a cat, I always turned to it. But then my profession took me really to exhibitions. So I did my PhD also on the competitiveness of exhibition companies in Europe, and then started to work with Köln Messe. And from there, it took me to the Global Association of the Exhibition Industry in Paris. And there one day I received a call. Could you imagine to lead the world's leading exhibition for the pet supplies? And I was thinking, oh my God, this is great. This allows me to combine two passions.
Yep.
The passion for pets and the passion for exhibitions. So what could be better?
There we go. Yeah. I feel like everybody who's been involved in exhibitions has a very similar story. I'm one of the organizers here at Global Pet Expo, and this job totally just fell into my lap. I heard pets and I said, I'll take the job right now, please. But, we're here at Global Pet Expo, and I've been, I organized this show, you organized that show. We're frenemies. It's fine. It's fine. But our shows are very unique. They're very different. I've had the opportunity to attend Interzoo, and I guess sort of want your take on what makes Interzoo truly a unique experience.
Okay, I think it's really the pure B2B character of the show combined with the internationality. So for the upcoming edition, we have more than 2,300 exhibitors.
Wow.
So not brands, pure companies who exhibit and bring their brands. And they are from more than 65 countries and still signing up. So we'll see. And on the buyer side, we had last edition 37,000 buyers who all have to prove that they are in the industry. So same as here. But they come from 140 countries.
Wow. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That is a lot. If anybody's listening to this while they're at Global or we're at Global Pet Expo, take Global and almost double it entirely.
Wow.
And you're at Interzoo. And the campus is amazing. You guys are still at the Messe?
Yeah, we are at Nuremberg Messe. And Nuremberg Messe, it's different than Global. Global, you have like, it's super comfortable because you have like everything in one hall.
Yeah, one building.
It's like connected. And it's unique. In Nuremberg, we have like pavilions. So we are going to be in 15 exhibition halls. And in the middle, there's also a garden. So if people bring dogs, they go outside in the sun during lunch break. So that's nice as well. And in Nuremberg, it's also very special that not all of the halls are rectangular. So we have also octagons, and so it's
which is a dream for trade show organizers who have to lay out a floor plan on a grid.
Well, as an attendee, it's probably easier to get lost in a round room.
Listen, I'm not afraid to admit that the first time I went to Interzoo, as a trade show guy who organizes halls all the time, I got so lost.
Did you really?
And then I figured out the logic behind how they do their numbers, and I was like, man, these Germans, they know what's up. And then I wasn't lost the rest of the time. So I should take my own advice, and I should have done my homework before attending a trade conference.
Now you know.
But the things are getting easier with the app. So with the digital planning, with the suggestions how to go, with orientation on the floor. So that helps a lot for sure.
So Ravenna, I want to challenge you to help our listeners who are primarily pet parents, help them understand what happens at a show like Interzoo from their perspective as pet parents. Why are these shows important for us as pet parents?
Yes, absolutely. At Interzoo, you have the brands who come and exhibit their products, and you have like the big stores like PetSmart or Petco or
Maxi-Zoo, which is a European brand, but also Carrefour. So we have the big retailers and the small retailers as well, individual stores, who come and look for innovations on the one side, but also to do their ordering. So buying from those ones who are exhibiting there. And of course, you have also companies there who are manufacturing and who offer to manufacture, for example, dog toys in the way the retailer would love to have them. So actually, it's like everything which is happening before you go into the store.
Right.
So if you wonder where your pet store gets supplies from, that's going to be at Global, for example, or it's going to be at Interzoo, where the stores actually buy their supplies, and that could be food, that could be toys, that could be everything. At Interzoo, there is also a little bit more, so we go a little bit upstream what you see in the store. So actually, we also have some of the pet food manufacturers there who have the machines with which you produce the kibbles and everything, or who show you how the packaging is done. So that means also at Interzoo, we discuss topics which are for the pet parent behind the scenes. So actually, how does the package look like? What are sustainable trends there? How can we improve animal welfare, and how can we improve packaging, products, innovation? So you meet also, also the people who are actually producing the pet food meet and exchange there. So it's behind the scenes, and then it's what you have.
Exactly. Well, I think too, with your show being so international, I mean, buyers from 140 different countries is amazing. What I found here at Global is, as these folks come from different countries and they're acting in the role of importer to really bring these products home, there's a worldwide demand for quality products, and a lot of those products are produced in Europe and the United States. And Europe and the United States have a very specific way you have to package and label these products. You have to follow all the laws and things like that. When you're going to a different country, it's got to be in a different package. And no manufacturer is just going to start producing that on their own. They have to recognize the demand. And I think a lot of that demand gets filled at these trade shows where, here at Global Pet Expo, we see a lot of folks from the Brazilian market coming up here to Florida, and they see products that are being made for America, and they say, well, that's a really quality product. I want to bring that back to Brazil. And without that face-to-face interaction here at a trade show, that product is never going to appear in the Brazilian market. So I think that really is one of the main catalysts of a trade show. It gets the product on the shelf. It doesn't happen magically, people. There's no stork that's going to go around dropping off the product. It really does happen at places like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot agree more. It's like, really, you can say it happened at the trade show, where you can see the product, feel the product, experience the product, smell the product, taste the product, depending on what
Sometimes. I've done it before.
Yeah.
Talk to me a bit about educational opportunities, even if there's not a lot of formalized education. I think another part of trade shows is when a retailer gets the opportunity to really learn about a product and take that knowledge home. How do you feel that impacts the end consumer when we have just more people knowledgeable about these products working in retail stores?
I think it's absolutely important to offer educational sessions. We have some really important trend topics like animal health. So to better understand what's in the package, or what are the effects of certain products on the animals, so that you can explain that also in a good way. So better to understand what a supplement in a product is for. Only then you can sell it to your customers. The other thing is sustainability, and we have here, for example, the Pet Sustainability Coalition being really strong, and we also have that. We have a sustainability conference also at Interzoo, because we think that's an important topic.
It really is.
And it needs a lot of education and a lot of inspiring as well, because you see things and you take it on.
Yeah.
And then also learning about, if you're a retailer, when you have products coming from different countries, what you need to pay attention to if you want to import something, what are rules and regulations, so really help in this way.
But then in the end, also for the pet parents to say, okay, if there's a certain logo on it, what does it mean? What does it tell me?
Right.
And how can I transform that as a valuable information for the pet parent?
Yeah. One of the things I love so much about these exhibitions is the variety of professionals from the industry that come together.
Yeah.
And as a pet care educator myself, I try to attend shows like Global Pet Expo and also on the veterinary side. Is there any crossover at InterZoo with the veterinary industry? Is there an animal health component to your show?
We have always vets visiting the show as well. A couple of years ago, we had also an educational seminar for them. We are now focusing actually more on retail, but still offering a lot also for the vets, but not accessories for vet clinics or anything. But we have this year a specific product showcase also on healthcare.
Wow.
This is something, and of course, the vets also in Germany, for example, they sell specific product lines, and those product lines are normally showed on vet shows and not at InterZoo because they're just simply different.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Rovana, before we let you go, for those who may be listening and some of our industry pals who may be interested in attending InterZoo, where can they go to learn more and let us know the dates of the next edition of InterZoo?
Hey, I'm very happy to do that. So the dates are 12th to 15th of May this year in Nuremberg. And
beautiful time to visit Germany, by the way.
Absolutely, it's the asparagus time. And InterZoo only takes place every second year. So if you're not decided yet, please come this year and save the date also for 2028. And you get more information on www.interzoo.com. There you find everything. And we do have also the little extra on the 11th already. There's a sustainability conference is taking place with from the United Nations. We have the Vice Secretary General who also developed the SDGs, who's the keynote speaker. So that's something really good.
I got to yell at our CEO. We don't have anybody from the United Nations. We got to figure this out. We got to figure this out.
Yeah. But then there's the Pet from Europe also taking place on the 11th. So yeah.
Lots to do.
InterZoo.com. You can find everything. You can follow us also on Instagram at InterZoo_2026, or of course on LinkedIn and Facebook. So
amazing.
Yeah, happy. And if you want to get in contact with us, please feel free. We're here as well with the booth, number 2977, and we are happy to...
Like I said, frenemies.
Frenemies.
I say frenemies and I say co-opetition.
Co-opetition. But actually, I think it's because behind Global Pet Expo and behind InterZoo, there are the associations.
Yeah.
And I think it's super important that the associations work together.
Yes.
And I think that we all work united for the pet industry, for the pets, because I think we are all pet lovers and we want to do the best for them. And the better our shows are, the more we can offer, and the more internationally we work together, the better it is for the pets and the pet parents.
I agree. Wholeheartedly, I agree. Yep. Well, thank you so much for taking some time from your busy Global Pet Expo schedule to stop on by. We're going to let you get back to that booth.
Yes.
But everyone, be sure to check out their website. They have an amazing, amazing, amazing show. I wish I was able to go this year. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be attending, but I will be there in spirit. Rowena, thank you so much.
Thank you so much to both of you. It was really a pleasure being here, and congratulations. Global Pet Expo is great. I love it.
Thank you. Chris, you said you went to InterZoo.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. So I see how hard you work on this show and how stressed you get.
Yeah.
Can you imagine working on that show?
I like to think that they have a few more people. I should have asked her how big their operations team is. Our operations team is technically only 4 people.
What?
Our marketing team, I think, is 10 or something like that. A lot of people, a few people can get a lot done when they have a lot of time, and InterZoo is every other year.
So they get 2 years to plan.
They get 2 years to plan, but I would imagine that if Global Pet Expo was every other year, my anxiety would be doubled. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot more riding on the success of the event if it's every other year. But it's truly an amazing show. We are so happy to partner with them and have a friendly relationship. We do with all the leading trade shows, and we've even had some folks on from things like Super Pet Expo and some of the smaller shows and the consumer shows and the more niche stuff. We're all in this together, working hard to keep it all glued together. And I think that's what makes the pet industry special. You don't see that in other, trade industries.
Yeah.
I know of 2 food associations who not get along. Really? I'll tell you that much. Yeah, lots of drama in the association world. Okay, non-for-profit doesn't mean no drama.
Sounds like a reality show.
Oh my goodness! Could you imagine? Ron, I got a show idea. Ron.
The product of the week.
All right, it's time for our product of the week, Global Pet Expo edition. Oh, we got some more great products for you. Do you want me to kick it off?
Yeah,
here,
go for it.
Kristen? All right. I am really excited about these products. They're called Delectables, and I talk about this kind of stuff with cats all the time because Cat is having its moment. You may have heard me say it like a gazillion times recently. But there is now a lot of attention being brought towards cat treats and cat add-ons and cat mix-ins and how can we supplement their diet? How can we make food more exciting for them? And I think what Delectables did a really good job here is addressing texture, which cats care about a lot more than dogs. There are some cats that straight up will not eat dry kibble on its own. They need something mixed in there. And there's all sorts of different textures. So what's really cool about Delectables is they have 6 unique textures. And I'm going to hold these up like cards. They come in little packages like this, folks. Look at these. Everybody's used to packaging like that, like cards. And your favorite textures like creamy puree, gravy, stew, bisque, broth, and chowder. My 6 favorite liquids. How about that? You could use it on its own as a topper, as a mix-in on the go, or freeze and lick. I don't know if anybody's done that with these things. You throw them in the freezer and
tongue stick would have been present.
I think cats have different tongues.
That's true.
Well, yeah, I don't think you should be doing it. Yeah. Although I do think you should take this gravy with chicken and turkey, stick it in your freezer and eat it like a popsicle. I'm sure you'd really enjoy that, Kristen. It's also healthy hydration for your cat. Cats are notoriously stubborn when it comes to drinking water. This is going to help them get more water in their system. No added fillers, no byproducts, no added preservatives. In fact, I'm looking at some of the expiration dates, and they're a lot sooner than you'd think. These are fresh products to be used on demand. Mix it in, give it as a treat, freeze and lick, or take it on the go. I mean, this would fit in my pocket. I'm dealing them out like cards. Everybody's getting Delectables, all right? So thank you, Delectables. Be sure to check them out. I think I've got some social handles here on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Delectables Cat Treats.
All right. Great job. So my product of the week today is from a company called Pet Ag, which I know has been around a really long time.
Ever.
They go way back. And I wanted to talk a little bit about their legacy in animal nutrition and their portfolio of science-backed products designed to support pet health and wellness. Another thing that has been having a moment for a long time, but especially now with the science-backed data, bless you, is quality supplements.
Yes.
For our dogs. These are for dogs. And this line of supplements from Pet Ag is called Dyne, D-Y-N-E. Right here, I've got the joint health and mobility version. Let's see. And this is cool. They have a QR code on the top of each one of these little cans so that you can read about the science that powers the ingredient.
Now that's some serious transparency.
It is.
It's right on the top.
And then this one is for endurance and vitality. So this, I imagine, would be ideal for maybe adolescent dogs and, adult and into their senior years. That one. This next shoe is for, calming. We
talk about those kind of things a lot, yeah.
I love to learn about new calming products because, of course, in June, we have Pet Anxiety Awareness.
Yes.
So calming advanced health.
Let me see the last calming.
And then the last one I have here is for digestion and immune support. These are all veterinary formulated. They're science-backed. I know I said that 3 times already, but I just want to emphasize that.
And I think that is really what's setting a lot of supplements apart, right? Is the science and the vet formulations. And I also have an extra in here. This might be just this is just a supplement.
Yeah, the sample size.
For the joint health and mobility. So if you are looking to, extend your pet's wellness, joint health, calming, check out these pet ag products. Dine is the line.
Dine is the line.
Q&As.
All right, Kristen, it's time for our favorite part of the show. That's right. We're going to answer 2 questions from you folks at home. And I know what you're thinking. How do I get my question answered by Chris and Kristen? Well, it couldn't be easier. Head on over to petsadlife.org/podcast. Scroll on down to the bottom of that page. You'll see a form to submit your question. Or if you're feeling as brave as somebody wearing high heels at a trade show, and I've seen a few.
Make that mistake one time.
You make that mistake one time, but if you're feeling that brave, you can record a voice memo and you may hear your question asked live on our show.
I forgot. I'm sorry. I love that because whenever I see a woman in high heels at a trade show, I just go, oh.
Yeah. No, it's like from like the Hateful Eight with like all those comedians and James Franco, and they're on the gallows and he's got the noose around his neck and he looks at it and he goes, first time? That's what I think. It's like
First time.
First time. Yeah, it's got to be your first time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. No. I love a good distraction. So, Kristen, I've got a question for you, and this question comes from Amanda in Miami, Florida.
Miami in the house.
Miami is in the house, and she asks, my dog is friendly with people, but not great with other dogs. Is it too late to socialize an adult dog, and how should I approach it?
Good question, Amanda.
Yeah, good question.
Okay, so I wouldn't say it's definitely not too late, but the way you're going to approach this matters. The goal is not to force interaction. It's really building positive association at a dog's own pace. You might want to start with parallel walking. My sister was dealing with this with her dog. And she got her neighbor to team up with her, and she would walk her dog on one side of the street and her neighbor would walk her dog on the other side of the street. So they're walking in parallel with a calm dog without direct interaction and at enough distance that the more anxious dog or unsocialized dog feels relaxed. And my sister did this with her dog for about a month, and she said it really made a big difference. You could also, let me give a shout out to Fear Free, because Fear Free has dog trainers that are Fear Free certified, and they specialize in helping dogs that have anxiety or fear or stress issues to kind of do some behavior modifications. So you can always go to the Fear Free website, put your zip code in, and it'll show you the trainers in the area, or any credible credentialed dog trainer can also help you out with that.
That is some great advice.
Okay, so Chris, I have a fish question.
Okay, and we're in the fish bowl, so it works out.
Perfect. It's from Daniel in Tampa. He says, I'm new to owning fish and I want to do it right. What are the most important things people often get wrong when setting up and maintaining a home aquarium?
This is a great question, Daniel. Thank you for asking it. I think the first thing people get wrong is a misconception. Fish are pets. I consider them a pet, but they're also a hobby. And the reason I say a hobby, hobbies require knowledge and practice, right? And while you could probably say the same about owning a dog or owning a cat, you could be a bad dog owner and your dog would still live a happy life. Yeah. Like, your dog may have behavioral problems and may nip at people and may bark all the time and, might not ever really be housebroken, but they'll still lead a happy life.
Right.
If you take that approach with fish, they'll die. Yeah, it's just the way it is. So I think the first thing to think about is act like your aquarium is a science experiment. Yeah. So you're looking at numbers, you're testing water, you are staying within certain boundaries, and you're staying up on maintenance. Water health, I think, is the number one thing. A lot of people just assume that if a fish is in water, they could breathe that water. And I know we all know the difference between fresh and salt water. And I doubt if you're new, you're going to be doing a saltwater aquarium. Please don't do a saltwater aquarium if you're brand new. It's so tough. But I'm assuming it's fresh water. But there's things like how much bacteria is in that water. There's a right amount. Same with algae. There's a correct amount, and it's not zero. The pH level of this water, the temperature of the water, and understanding which fish will work in community together, because you want to put fish together that can exist in the same environment. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but there's some warm water, more tropical fish who are going to enjoy a tank closer to 80 degrees. And then there's going to be more like river fish who are going to enjoy a tank closer to 70 degrees. And you probably don't want to put them together because you don't compromise on 75. So I think those are some of the mistakes that people are going to make. And what I will say, if you are interested in keeping an aquarium at home, find a local aquarium retailer or hobbyist store or fish store. These are people who are incredibly passionate. If they're still in business to this date, they're doing something right. They're going to be very reliable sources of information. You could walk in that door and say, I don't know anything, please help. And you will make that person's day because they love to talk about this stuff and get people set up. So don't take it from me. Walk on down the road, find your local aquarium store, and I'm sure you will be off to a great start. Daniel, thank you for your question. 2 Florida questions while we're in Florida. A triflectal. That's terrible. That's terrible.
Well, it's 2. Try 3.
Well, yeah, because we're in Florida.
Oh, because you're counting up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is trifecta.
A triflecta. A hat trick. There we go. All right. Thanks for your questions, folks.
Woo! Did it.
Yeah, it feels like a sprint to the finish here, doesn't it? But we're getting close, man. So much cool stuff at Global Pet Expo. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing these amazing guests and stories and products to you straight from Global Pet Expo.
Whenever I come back from the show, my friends are like, how can I go to that show? And I have to break the news to them, but it's not for the public. It's not for pet lovers. It could be in the pet industry. But the good news is there are so many different jobs, so many different ways you could work in the pet industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just get a toe in, folks. Get a toe in, try it out. Or if you just enjoy being a pet parent, check out Global Pet Expo's social media. In fact, we've partnered with so many different influencers this year who are producing content. So if you follow those influencers, you're going to get a real solid taste of what the show has to offer, all from the comfort of your own home. And while you're there sitting on your butts watching TV, you should be watching us on your television. Available on YouTube. DOGTV and DOGTV Unleashed is the video production of the PAL podcast. I spent a lot of money on these cameras, folks. Don't make me look dumb. Watch the videos. I did it for you. It's really some great stuff. This whole entire crew has been amazing. All the talent here has been amazing. This whole area, I think I'm going to have to do some type of behind the scenes video with our social person because everybody at home deserves to see what we're working with here. Yeah. It's a really something special. Yeah. We've got like 2 live streaming stations. We're doing show talks. We've got a whole set for DOGTV.
A TikTok shop.
Yeah.
They're doing live TikTok shop.
We're doing TikToks. Can you believe it? Chris, we're doing the TikToks. Follow us on our TikToks, our YouTubes, our Instagrams, and all that other stuff. And we will see you back here on Tuesday. Until then, be kind to yourself, be kind to your animals, and woof.
Meow for now.
Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond. With Kristen Levine and me, Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and DOGTV. Did I not say DOGTV? Did I say it weird?
Got questions? The experts have answers.
Every Friday, a brand new episode of The Experts drops, featuring the biggest names in pet care.
From behavior to health, training to nutrition, our panel of top veterinarians, trainers, and technicians tackles it all.
Real questions from real pet parents, and real answers from the best in the business.
The Experts, every Friday, only on Unleashed by DOGTV.
Watch and learn, your pet will thank you.